Welcome to Glory Global. What if I told you that the reason your money feels tight right now might have absolutely nothing to do with your income? Okay, let's dive into this. Because look, most of us just kind of naturally operate under the assumption that financial problems inherently come from not earning enough money, right? We constantly tell ourselves things like, man, if I just got a raise, or, if I just picked up a side hustle, literally all my stress would vanish. But in reality, for a massive portion of the population, financial struggles actually come from things we simply don't see until it's way too late. So today, in this explainer, we're going to shine a massive spotlight on the unseen. We are breaking down the 3 critical financial blind spots that most people completely ignore, and we'll look at how uncovering them can totally transform your financial confidence.
It's incredibly common to fall for the myth that earning more is the ultimate cure-all. But think about it. How many people do you know who got a big promotion, started making way more money, and somehow still feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck? Honestly, it happens all the time. That is the income illusion. The reality here is that many of our most intense financial struggles stem from unseen blind spots. These are the little gaps in our strategy that quietly sit in the background and then catch us entirely off guard when life happens. It's really not about how much water is flowing into the bucket, it's about the holes in the bottom of the bucket that you didn't even know were there.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we just touched on the income illusion. Next, we'll hit blind spot number 1, missing the protection plan. Then, blind spot number 2, goals are not plans. After that, blind spot number 3, the true emergency fund. And finally, we'll wrap up with building financial confidence.
Let's jump right into blind spot number 1, missing the protection plan.
When people start building wealth, they usually focus entirely on playing offense, saving and investing. Everybody loves to watch their portfolio grow. But in the rush to build that wealth, we totally forget to build a moat around it. We forget to protect it. And guys, life comes at you fast. What happens to that beautifully growing nest egg if there's a sudden medical emergency, or a job loss, an unexpected accident, or worst case scenario, an unthinkable incident with the household's main income earner? I want to rapid fire these events at you because this is exactly how life happens, suddenly and without any warning whatsoever. Without a proper shield, unshielded savings can completely disappear in the blink of an eye. You could easily spend 10 years building wealth, and literally one severe unprotected life event can wipe out all of that progress.
A lot of people actively avoid talking about insurance or risk planning. They think it's morbid, or that it's just operating out of fear. But we need to reframe that. And this brilliantly illustrates that proper risk planning, solid income protection strategies, and the right insurance coverages aren't about fear at all, not even a little bit. They are about essential preparation. Think of them as the tactical shields you use to guarantee that one bad day doesn't destroy years or even decades of your hard-earned financial progress.
Which brings us to blind spot number 2. Goals are not plans.
Absolutely everyone wants to be financially secure. But wanting it and actively engineering it, those are 2 completely different things. We hear these phrases constantly. I really want to save more. I want to start investing. I want to retire comfortably. These sound amazing, right? But point blank, these are just goals. They are just wishes. Without a written mathematical strategy to back them up, your money simply disappears into daily expenses. You get to the end of the month and wonder, where did it all go? Well, it went away because you had a goal, but you didn't give your money a specific set of instructions.
Let's move to and see how this builds a real financial plan. Because real planning means turning those vague intentions into a concrete roadmap. Step 1, know exactly where your money goes. You have to track it. Step 2, set distinct short and long-term goals. Step 3, understand your own personal risk tolerance. And Step 4, build a comprehensive roadmap for your debt, your savings, and your investments. A proper plan takes that vague intention and turns it into actionable direction. If you don't have a written financial strategy guiding your decisions right now, that is a massive blind spot.
Moving right along to blind spot number 3, the true emergency fund.
If you really trace back intense financial stress, it almost always starts with a sudden emergency, a blown transmission in the car, unexpected medical bills, a sudden leak in the roof, or an abrupt change in income. That is why an emergency fund isn't just extra money you have lying around for fun. It is literal protection for your lifestyle. So the crucial point is what financial experts widely suggest, having 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses saved up. To put that into perspective, this means if everything completely stopped tomorrow, you could keep the lights on, the fridge stocked, and the roof over your head for a quarter to half a year while you figure things out. We really need to clearly define what this is because people get it wrong all the time. A true emergency fund is accessible cash sitting in a liquid account. Think like a high-yield savings account. What is not an emergency fund?
Credit cards, stock market investments, retirement accounts. Why? Because emergencies do not wait for market performance. If the market is down 20% the exact day your roof caves in, you really don't want to be forced to sell your investments at a major loss just to pay the contractor.
Without a dedicated, liquid emergency fund, people are forced into desperate actions. When that transmission blows, what do? They put it on credit cards at 24% interest. Ouch! They withdraw from their retirement accounts early and get hit with massive tax penalties. They take on crushing consumer debt, or they have to go through the painful process of borrowing from friends and family. A lack of a true emergency fund creates severe, long-term financial stress out of what really should have just been a temporary, short-term problem.
Finally, let's talk about building financial confidence.
Addressing these 3 blind spots isn't about being rich. Seriously, you don't need to be a millionaire to do these things. It's just about being prepared. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how these 3 pillars actually support your entire financial house. Confidence doesn't just magically appear when you get a higher salary. It comes when these pillars align. When you know for a fact you have protection in place to guard against disaster, when you have a clear written plan dictating where every single dollar goes, and when you have liquid cash reserves waiting for the unexpected, when those 3 things are firmly in place, the way you feel about your money completely transforms.
So I want you to take a second right now and genuinely ask yourself, which blind spot do you relate to the most? What is your missing pillar? Is it a total lack of protection and insurance? Is it having lots of goals but absolutely no written plan to get there? Or are you operating without a true 3 to 6 month emergency fund? Be completely honest with yourself here, because awareness is the absolute first step toward making a lasting improvement. You just can't fix a blind spot until you admit you can't see it.
Which one do you relate to? If this explainer helped you think differently about your finances today, please share it with someone in your life who really needs to hear it. We all know someone who is super stressed about money but might just be looking in the wrong places. And hey, if you realize you have some of these blind spots and you'd like help reviewing your own financial strategy, we are definitely here for you. Visit the blog link down in the description. Or even better, complete the free consultation form below to get started. But before you go, I want to leave you with this. If your income stopped entirely tomorrow, how many days would your current plan actually survive? Don't let what you can't see derail what you're working so hard to build. Thanks for hanging out with me on Glory Global, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.